having babies is good content. It just is.
YouTube shares about 50% of the ad revenue that they generate with the creators.
I'm not saying that it's anyone's intention to objectify these children. It could come across that way.
A couple of days ago, my partner and I, is it my partner and I or I'm my partner? I think I'm my partner anyways. So a couple of days ago, I and my partner were watching a video of a couple documenting their baby's journey of having 6 fingers surgically removed. But just so you know, I was born with 12 fingers, 6 on each hand. My mom always told me that when I was a child, the doctor tied my 6th finger, and one day when she was just washing me, it just fell off. Seeing this video and seeing this baby with the 6 fingers, I told my partner this story again of how my 6 fingers fell when I was showering. It's something that literally they've heard so many times. As I was just focused on this baby with the 6 fingers, I just kept going on and on talking about how my 6 fingers probably looked the same way when I was this baby's age. After that, I just decided to click on the page, and when I clicked on the page, I saw posts like last day with 6 fingers and first day without 6 fingers. At that point, I just blurted out, can you imagine if my mom had filmed my 6-finger journey and shared it with the whole world? I would be so mad at it when I'm older. Out of curiosity, I looked into the account a bit more, and I found out that the baby was adopted. And as I scrolled through, all I could see were pictures of this adopted black baby. But that being said, I just want to say something. Social media has just changed how we connect with each other. It's just giving us a front row to people's life, including the joys and the challenges of parenting. And for adoptive families, this platform can be a place to share their journey, to build community, and also to normalize adoption. But there is a darker side to this. There's the exploitation of adopted children for views, for likes, and even money. So this is something we're going to unpack. We're going to unpack what's happening. We're also going to talk about why it's a problem and what we can do about it. But before we go in, let me introduce myself. Hi guys, my name is Joel, and on this channel I just speak about whatever I want to speak about, whether they're trendy or not. So if video essays or documentaries or deep dives are your cup of tea, kindly consider subscribing, share this video if you care. I really do appreciate that. And that being said, this channel is just basically educational. I just speak about whatever I want to speak about, whether they're trendy or not, whatever is on my mind. And people that love it, they just come here weekly and just watch me speak. That being said, let's get into the word for today. The word for today says, in the garden of life, sow seeds of kindness and watch miracles bloom. In the garden of life, sow seeds of kindness and watch miracles bloom. So this is from my journal. The Manifesto Vision journal is literally the ultimate guide to journaling. Honestly, it has literally everything you need for journaling. And please, if you've purchased my journal, please just put it down in the comment section. It's not a lot of you that have purchased it, but if you've purchased it, please put it down in the comment section and tell these people just how rich my journal is. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. So that being said, let's just get straight into this video. Part 1. What's going on here? So adoption is a deeply personal experience. It's full of emotions and also big decisions. But when you mix that with the public nature of social media, things can get really messy. Many adoptive parents, they post about their experiences to document their journey or to inspire people. Obviously, this sounds harmless, right? There is just a thin line between sharing and oversharing. Some parents, they use their adopted children as the centerpiece of their content, especially on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Just think videos titled Our Daughter's Adoption Journey, or what's really like adopting from insert country here, whatever country you want to insert. And most times they go to less privileged countries or Asian countries or African countries to adopt children, which honestly is not a bad thing. I don't have a problem with that. And these posts, they can rack up millions of views, and when monetized, they bring in real money.
It's really hot.
Day 1.
November 9th, 2016. Do you remember just that excitement of knowing that we were getting to meet her for the first time?
I felt like I was in shock. That look on my face there was just like utter...
Just the culture shock of just driving through. Yeah. So yeah, this is the children's home, Heart Haven.
So we drove.
Because for some reason, people really love relationship content, family content, and like relationship advice. People love all this kind of videos. So obviously it brings in a lot of money. The problem is that in the rush to tell their story, parents sometimes they forget one thing, and that is their child's privacy. The distinction between private and public life has become increasingly unclear, particularly for families who document their personal experiences online. This practice is commonly known as sharenting. This practice of sharenting just becomes especially intricate and ethically challenging when it includes adopted children. Sharenting on its own, it just refers to the practice of parents sharing details about their children's life on social media platforms. For adoptive parents, the stakes are even higher due to the sensitive nature of adoption stories. Sharing an adopted child's story without considering their future feelings or privacy rights can lead to identity issues and emotional distress. This conversation is particularly important given controversial cases like Nikki Philippi, Nika Stoffer, and Happily Evans After, whose use of social media has raised questions about the ethical boundaries of involving adopted children in online content. So let's just dive into what's happening. Let's talk about the impact on kids, and we're also going to talk about what needs to be changed. And this brings us to part 2, when sharing becomes exploitation. Adoption, like I said in the first part of this video, is as emotional as it can be. It's emotional, it's a deeply personal journey. But on platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, some families, they've turned it into a public narrative. Sharing adoption stories isn't inherently wrong. That is if it's done responsibly. When it's done responsibly, it can educate, it can build a community, and it can also reduce the stigma of adoption. However, social media just thrives on visibility, and with that comes pressure to create content that stands out. This is where lines can blur, and some families just fall into patterns of oversharing, misrepresenting their children's experiences, or even profiting from their stories. Okay, let's start with Mika Stoffer, because honestly, I didn't even know about Mika Stoffer until I was doing like my research on this topic.
Curious if you know the name Micah Stoffer. We'll stay away from that one.
People are scared. If you are even associated with her in the slightest, then you will also get canceled.
Okay guys, before moving on, I literally, while I was editing, realized that I was mispronouncing her name for the greater part of this video. So her name is Micah Stoffer, not Mika Stoffer. I don't know what was going through my brain and what made me say Mika Stoffer, but her name is Micah Stoffer. I apologize in advance. Thank you. Take Mika Stoffer, for example. So this person, she gained fame on YouTube by documenting her journey to adopt a boy from China, sharing every step of the process with millions of her followers. After bringing her son home, Mika, she monetized videos of their lives together. But 2 years later, she announced that she had rehomed him, sparking outrage and conversations about using adoption stories as content. So let me just expand more into it. So basically, Mika Stoffer shared her adoption story in a series of 3 videos that really touched a lot of people. In the first video, she explained that she was comfortable with almost all the conditions on a list of possible medical challenges that a child might have. She said that she was comfortable with 99 out of 100 to be exact.
In the summer, I think it was around May timeframe, my husband and I started talking about adoption. We most likely knew we wanted a kiddo that was a special focus kiddo, meaning that they had a medical condition, or maybe they had a disease, or maybe they had a diagnosis that is unfavorable. any of those things could be a possibility.
And by the second video, she also shared that the child that they wanted to adopt from China had a condition that scared them at first. So the doctor told them that this child has a condition prior to them even adopting the child. Even knowing that it could get worse over time, they decided to move forward with their adoption. In the third video, Mika, she just went into more details talking about her son's diagnosis. They had CT scans done, and when the results came back, the doctor was just extremely worried. In fact, the doctor even tried to discourage them from adopting, warning them about the challenges ahead. Mika, she admitted that her and her husband, they ignored the advice. They said that it went in one ear and came out through the other. She also made it very, very clear that they were fully committed to their son, saying that he was not returnable. Keep that in mind. She said that their son was not returnable and that they've never ever considered giving him up because of his condition.
Almost discouraged us from adopting him, like saying that this is going to be severe, this is going to be a lot, you know, we don't know what unknown elements could be. So when I heard all of the things that that doctor was telling us, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. He's our son, and that's that. He's not we aren't going to trade him in, we're not going to return him. He's our boy.
In October 2017, Mika and her husband James, they flew to China with their 3 kids to bring their new son home. They shared regular updates with their audience and they showed his progress as he adjusted to their family. The story was so emotional because just imagine seeing a scared, traumatized child learn to trust and also to connect with people. This was very, very powerful, and because of this, plenty of people gravitated to her channel. Her channel just gained a lot of attention and she had new subscribers. Mika, she was very open about the challenges, but she also made it clear that that's what they had signed up for when they chose to adopt this baby. Then in 2018, about a year later, Mika, she announced that she was pregnant, and by June 2019 she had a baby boy, and this made them a family of 7. But soon after, viewers started noticing something strange. So basically, her adopted son wasn't even showing up in videos any longer. Updates about him had even stopped completely. And in March of 2020, Mika, she posted a cryptic photo on Instagram saying that the past month has been the hardest of her life or whatever.
For 2.5 years, Huxley was the star, and then he had just kind of disappeared from the channel.
People were asking, where is Huxley?
What exactly are they hiding?
So a couple of months later, she and James, they uploaded a video titled An Update on Our Family. And that's when they revealed that they had rehomed their adopted son. They claimed that doctors told them that they needed to care more for the child. And at that point, they could not provide the support that the child needs. So they decided that this was the best decision for him. But obviously, this aggravated so many people. People weren't buying it because 2 years earlier, they had ignored doctors' reports, doctors' warning about how serious the condition might be. So why are you listening now that the child has come to your house and has gotten used to your house? Because the child was quite autistic and he was non-verbal. Gucci just felt that it was very, very cruel to just uproot this child from his home country and his life in China, help him adjust to a new family, and then give him away after just 2 years. The backlash was so intense. People were so furious that Mika continued posting cheerful videos even after this. Like, she was posting videos like, what do I eat in a day, and morning routine, as if nothing had happened. And she even quietly updated her bio from mom to 5 to mom to 4. When she was asked for more details, Mika claimed in a comment under one of her videos that this wasn't about her son's special needs, but rather it was about the behaviors that her son exhibited that affected other kids. And obviously, like I said, I didn't know this couple prior to researching. Like, I just knew about them when I was researching, and there are like so many T-Spill. I think I got most of my information from T-Spill, and like there are so many tea-spill channels that were covering this case, and I noticed that she was referring to this child as my adopted son, because again, if you really like this son, you will not refer to your son as your adopted son. So she argued that if one of her biological kids had the same condition that her adopted kids had, that her and her husband would have sought help too. But you did not say you would rehome this child. You just said that you and your husband would have sought help too. Many people, they didn't buy that explanation. So many critics just pointed out how her son was non-verbal. So how could a non-verbal son who did not know how to communicate would not want to live with them any longer? Old posts from Mika about her son also resurfaced, which just made things worse. So in one Facebook group, she complained about his eating habits, saying that he always stared at people while they ate, that even if he had food in front of him, he was always looking at other people's food, and that this drove her husband bonkers. So obviously when people had seen this, people were so horrified, and the controversy just snowballed, and brands like Huggies, they publicly announced that they were cutting ties with Mika and James, and Huggies even tweeted, "We have no future partnership plans in place." Mika and James' lawyer, they later released statement through People's Magazine, and they said that the couple had consulted with medical and educational experts and were also advised that rehoming their son was the best option for him. But for many people, they did not find this excuse worthy, because they were like, what exactly happened? You were warned prior to even adopting this child. So like, why is it all of a sudden now you've given birth to another child and all of a sudden you're rehoming the child? The contrast between Mika's initial promises of unconditional love and the reality of what she chose to do just left so many people outraged. And in the end, what started as an inspirational adoption story just ended in disappointment and heartbreak for both the audience and, most importantly, for the child. And I found this out during my research, because at the time that all this happened, like I said, I knew nothing about this couple, but all I could see were like other commentary channels just touching on this topic, because Mika herself had deleted her personal channel. If you type her name on Google, it's just her Instagram that shows. But like, if you go to Mika's Instagram, literally her last post was this post you're seeing here on the screen. You can screenshot it if you want. And her last post was 2020, so she's not posted since then.
One of the things that makes a great story is great characters.
Huxley in particular brought so much viewership to their channel.
He's kind of the new moneymaker for Micah.
It's all been this really great build-up, then almost like a night and day turn. It all came crashing down.
As Mika has deleted her own channel, guess who has not deleted their own video? Nikki Philippi. While researching this video, I was so surprised to see that their video was still up. So similarly, Nikki Philippi, she's also known for her family-centered social media presence. So she also faced backlash for her decision not to adopt a child from Thailand after learning that it could limit her ability to post about the adoption online.
Hi guys! So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because that's what the title already says. We are not adopting from Thailand. Whoa.
Sorry.
Yeah. So okay.
First road bump in the adoption process.
Or first big road bump.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, I guess it is the first road bump because everything else we've dealt with hasn't really necessarily been a road bump. It's just been like, it's difficult. There's a lot to this process. So the other day on Instagram, I posted that I was really bummed about something going on with the adoption.
So basically, Nikki Philippi, she is a lifestyle YouTuber. She faced some criticism when she said that her and her husband would not go through the adoption process in Thailand. They had started the process and they were really, really excited about the fact that they were going to adopt, but eventually they decided that it wasn't the right fit for them. The reason, if I tell you guys the reason, you guys probably know, because even when this was happening, I heard about it. The reason was because Thailand being a country that cares about children and cares about the privacy of children. Thailand has strict rules about sharing adoptive children on social media. So that was their reason, because Thailand were like, see, we followed your accounts, and because we followed your accounts, we are like, hope you guys know that within 1 year of adopting this child cannot be on social media. And they tried their hardest. Like watching this, I could not even go through the whole, was it 20 minutes? I couldn't go through the whole thing because I was getting irritated. And they were like, yeah, we even tried to speak to them to see if they could make an exception for us because all our lives was on social media. I'm like, girl, instead of you to look for a way to give someone a chance to a loving home, a peaceful home, if that's what you really want, your first priority is social media.
She sends me over a sheet, right? And I open up this sheet of all the policies and I'm reading it and I was like kind of confused. And so I sent her back an email. I'm like, is this basically just saying like not to share any information about our future child until they're officially ours? And she was like, well, yes, but also Thailand has its own law that's unique to it, that after you pick up your child and they're your child, you are not allowed to talk about them or share any images, photos, videos, anything about them online for a year.
Nikki's got a YouTube channel where we share a whole lot.
Wait, hold on. When that hit, we literally were like,
yeah,
what? Like we literally were like, wait, what? So we're like going around the house, we're like trying to figure out how this could work, like hashtag baby blur face, like what are we gonna do? Dan's like, maybe we could deal with that for a year, and we're talking about it and we're like, all right, let's pray about it, let's sleep on it, and then let's see how we feel.
Apparently, like I said, under Thai's adoption policies, parents aren't allowed to post pictures or videos of their adopted child at least for a year, and it's a rule that is meant to protect the privacy of the child. But Nikki, at this point, she admitted that it was just a very tough pill for her to swallow. Her career just revolves around sharing her family life online, and she also said that she felt that this restriction really make things very, very challenging for her. I mean, social media above giving a child a loving home, because let's not forget, even though they're in adoption agencies and all these things, when they're 18, most of these people, they get sent out on the street. So instead of you to be like, okay, I'm giving this person a home to stay in, I want to show them love, all you care about is social media. So when Nikki shared this decision, it didn't go over well with a lot of people. People criticized her. They said that I felt like she was very selfish and her reasoning was very selfish. For some people, it felt like she was prioritizing her content over giving a child a loving home, and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I'm not gonna lie, the video is still up on her YouTube channel till this day. Like, I was so surprised because I was like, receiving such amount of backlash will put some sense into you. But obviously, because the post has like, I think over 300,000 views, so she's like, yeah, I'm going to get as much money as I can from this. So if anybody wants to watch it, can come and watch it, because that was a very stupid thing to do. At the same time, there were also people who defended her, which I was like surprised that people were defending her. They argued that at least Nikki was being honest about her priorities, and if she felt like she couldn't commit to the requirements of adoption, maybe it was better for her to step back before bringing a child into the picture. That is a huge decision, and knowing your limits is important. It would be different if it's a different thing, but like, this is literally you posted on social media. And when I was watching the video, she spoke about how she thought about blurring the child's face but still posting the child on social media, but she didn't have energy for that, basically.
So we're like going around the house, we're like trying to figure out how this could work, like hashtag baby blur face, like what are we gonna do? Dan's like, maybe we could deal with that for a year, and we're talking about it and we're like, all right, let's pray about it, let's sleep on it, and then let's see how we feel.
I'm like, girl, the whole situation just sparked a bigger controversy about international adoptions, the ethics of sharing children's lives online, and what it means to truly be ready to adopt. For Nikki, it just felt like she was just trying to figure out what would make the most sense for her family. But I think it's so wild for you to choose not to adopt a child because you want to exploit them. Honestly, I don't care what anybody has to say. it's very, very selfish of you to be like, oh, I don't want to adopt this child because I will not be able to exploit you. And in the same video, they also decided that they wanted to go to Korea to adopt. I don't know if they went through with that. They spoke about it, saying how it would be a more faster route and everything. But in the video, she was not really sure if she would get accepted or whatever. And I pray, like, I could not. That's the only video of them that I watched. So obviously, like I said, I heard about this case, and then I was like, I know they also had other controversies that surrounded them. So her and her husband, apart from the fact that they had this controversy about adoption in Thailand, I'm going to mention two of their almost so many controversies surrounding them. First of all, one of the controversies that they had was putting down their dog Bowser. So one of their biggest controversy, it came in May 2021 when Nikki and Dan, they revealed in a YouTube video that they euthanized their dog Bowser, and they explained that Bowser had shown aggressive behavior, including biting their young son Logan. However, many viewers just felt that the situation could have been handled differently, such as rehoming the dog rather than just euthanizing the dog. And who is the vet that euthanized the dog? Like, why would you euthanize the dog? Literally, like, who is the vet that approved this? Critics were especially upset because the couple, they admitted that Bowser wasn't a danger on a day-to-day basis, and they even described the decision as tough but peaceful. Yeah, they said it's a tough but peaceful send-off. Can you imagine? The backlash was just so intense, and so many people just accused them of making a very, very unnecessary and cruel choice. To me, that's a very unnecessary and cruel choice because, like, why? Another thing that this couple have been faced for is promoting anti-vaccine sentiments. Obviously, we know what happened in 2021. I don't want to say because YouTube has been dealing with my ears for a very long time now. So Nikki has been criticized for expressing anti-vaccine views in the past. She has made comments that align with skepticisms about vaccines, which alienated part of her audience. And this stance, especially in the context of public health conversations, has drawn significant criticism, and it has been viewed as irresponsible by so many people. So yeah, those are the two controversies I decided to speak to you guys, apart from the Thailand one from this. So now let's go to the third person who is exploiting their adopted child. Happily Evans After, whose family videos often feature their adopted son prominently. Happily Evans After, they practice open adoption, which personally I think is a good thing. And while their channel celebrates adoption, critics have also pointed out the risk of using their son's personal history to gain views or to build a brand. They were on the Caramel show 2 years ago, and they spoke about their problems on the show. And when I watched it, I didn't finish it, I'm not gonna lie, but I watched like a greater part of it. Yeah, the host of the Caramel show, I really don't like that show. I think I don't like it because I've actually only watched one of their show, and that was for the pink sauce lady, and the guy was just gaslighting the customer, and I was like, boy, go and sit somewhere. But yeah, I watched it, and when I watched it, they interviewed them at the beginning, and on here spoke about how the picture that they are used to announce the adoption went viral on Twitter because their niece posted it on Twitter, and according to them, they said that they faced so much backlash around that time. So at the time, the wife was an Instagram fashion blogger, but I think that she was not as prominent, or she was not as well known. And during the interview, when the husband was saying what they were doing prior to when they went viral, he was like, my wife was a fashion blogger. That's actually what he did. And then he spoke about how he had suggested to his wife that they post their adopted son, and when they did, they went crazy viral. And that alone, around that time, like when I was watching the video, it just came across to me like they were just trying so hard to break into social media.
I think you just let hate comments get to you, even though we didn't have a platform at the time. We didn't post anything, but my niece had posted something that had went viral and gained the first set of hate comments that we'd ever seen. And I think you just let people get inside your head, even though you know your intentions are good and you're coming from like the best place possible. And so
I want to know, why did you want an open adoption though? We thought it was the healthiest thing
Yeah.
for Abriel.
Okay.
So especially
Yeah.
knowing that there were other people involved.
You're in Iowa, right?
Yeah.
That's against the law there.
Yeah,
So
so
having open adoption.
there's no such thing as open adoption in Iowa.
Exactly.
It's just closed. But we're like, no, we want to keep in contact. Like, he is still your son. You will always be his mom.
We want him to
and-
know that he was given up out of love, not because he wasn't wanted.
Why did you post your family on TikTok?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I'm sure you get that question all the time.
Yeah, right?
We waited a long time.
We did. So the viral post that we were talking about earlier was her. We had a family member who posted on Twitter as our adoption announcement, and that took off and went viral. We're like, this is kind of crazy stuff, you know. And
Yeah.
she had an Instagram account at the time. She was a fashion blogger, and I would always sit there and watch TikTok. We had some videos saved up on our phone, and one day I said, hey, you should just try it. We just thought it'd be cute to post our family. We did not know it was gonna take off like it did.
And while the wife's choice of being a fashion blogger didn't just work out well, exploiting their son just took up and they just decided to stick to it. That's literally how it came across to me. First time that I came across this channel, Happily Evans After, was literally January 14th, and it was a collaboration with this family. I don't know if you know them, they're on the screen right now. They're another channel that exploits their family and exploit their children. That's the story for another day. I cannot for the life of me remember their YouTube channel name. So when I saw that video, that was January 14th, I decided to go to their shorts page, and their content was really, really centered on this boy. Like, the content was really, really centered on this boy. Like, everything, it felt like the boy was the owner of the YouTube page. And at that time, seeing this, it felt so uneasy to me. This is a clear case of exploitation. Let me make this clear. I am not against adoption at all. I'm not against adoption in any way. And I think I've said this before, like, my first choice would always be adoption, because I have always wanted to adopt a child. I do not want to get pregnant. And people are like, oh, so what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to adopt a child. Like, I've always known that I wanted to adopt a child. I was the only girl for a very long time. I have like literally 5 brothers, and I used to beg my parents to adopt a girl before my baby sister came, like literally 20 years after me. So I've always been a fan of adoption. I've never ever hated the aspect of adopting a child. I'm just against the exploitation of children. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to adopt a child one day, because I just feel like someone needs a loving home. So I would like to add one more person to this mix, and that's Brittany Dawn. Brittany Dawn, she deserves a whole ass story, a separate video just for her.
I'm kind of in a state of shock right now, because as I was getting ready in my bathroom, our caseworker called, and that's all I'm going to say in this video. If we ended up getting placed with this child, then I will talk about that in another video without disclosing the child's identity. But I'm just kind of in a state of shock right now.
Brittany Dawn initially gained prominence for her fitness and nutrition plans, but she also faced significant backlash after so many clients had accused her of delivering generic, ineffective services than the personalized coaching that she promised. Some clients, including those recovering from eating disorders, they claimed that her plans were not suitable and they were even harmful. So following this controversy, she apologized publicly, and then that's when she now shifted her focus towards faith-based content. Brittany Dawn, she later began promoting Christian-themed workshops and retreats, and she was charging the people that attended this workshop and retreat substantial amounts of money. Like, these people were paying like 3,000, 4,000 just to get baptized or just to go for a retreat. And again, just like I spoke about like my Logan Paul video, I'm like, why do you guys see that someone has been accused of being a scam and like they've been proven to scam people, and then they come out and they put out products and you still support them? I would never for the life of me understand that. Why would you let yourself to be so gullible? People always like, I feel like people are in this thing where they are like, if it didn't happen to me, then I don't think it's going to happen to me. Like, why would you guys do that? Why would you guys do that? Honestly, you have seen that someone has scammed someone, and instead of you to learn from the lessons of others, you decide to put yourself into that. So this pivot to religious content has just drawn criticisms with so many people accusing her of exploiting her Christian audience for financial growth. And I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to like religion, people who look into religion, people who are so deep into religion, they get so vulnerable and you can literally exploit them. After all this, due to her rebrand, she received scrutiny for posting about a foster child as part of her influencer narrative, with allegations that she monetized this aspect of her life through affiliate links and promotional posts. So basically, one of the major points of contention was that foster parents, especially in the US, are generally required to follow strict privacy rules that concerns the children that they care for. These rules, they often include restrictions on sharing the children's identities and images online. So while Britney just blurred out the face of this child, of this baby, in some post to follow these rules, the facts remain that she still seemed to exploit this child through affiliate links, and obviously this raised ethical concerns because, first of all, this is a foster child. This is not your child. You're just like a placeholder till this child finds a forever home. So you exploiting this child and putting this child on social media, even though you're blurring out the face, it does not mean that you're not exploiting the child, because she was still getting affiliate links for people to purchase things. And for someone who is a Christian, the Bible speaks against greed. The love of money is the root of all evil. So many people, they argue, they were like, you're blending your influencer lifestyle with your foster care responsibilities. No matter how much you try to like paint it, it's still very, very exploitative.
Recently, Brittany Dawn has been chosen to be a foster care parent. I don't know how, because her husband was fired from being a police officer because of what he did to a black man. But the fact that she may have had a baby monitor, but she went outside and was working out, and she wanted to see if the child was sleeping, hinting at the fact that she most likely did not have a baby monitor with her. And I know accidents happen, but she left potpourri burning on the stove with the fire on. And instead of coming on the internet and being like, wow, this was a really big mistake, she's like making a story time out of it. I think she took this down already, and she is sort of laughing in her video. And if you're like, oh, Anna, like mistakes happen, I really recommend you go watch this video in depth, because I talk about all these situations, and there is a lot more about her that makes you think, wow, she's likely going to exploit this child for views, and she's already doing it. God.
Part 3. The impact of public exposure on adopted children. So while social media platforms make family feel connected, the public sharing of an adopted child's life can have unintended consequences for the child that is being involved. For adopted children, the act of growing up online can mean a loss of privacy at a very, very early age. Whether it's sharing photos of their first moments at home, or revealing sensitive details about their past, or chronicling their adoption struggles, these moments become very permanent parts of their digital identity. Children's lives, particularly those that involve trauma or past neglect, can just become public spectacles. The emotional toll this can take on a child is very, very significant. And children, they can grow up, they mature, and as they begin to understand their own story, they just may find themselves conflicted by the fact that their most private moments were once broadcast for the world to see. The issue isn't just about oversharing, it's about lack of respect for a child's rights to control their own narrative. And additionally, adopted children can face bullying or intrusive questions from their classmates or their peers, and if their story is shared in a way that doesn't protect their identity or their dignity, they may just find themselves targeted for things that they cannot even control. For example, you think, if I don't see that boy that happily advanced after a post on their page like every other time, you think if I don't see him on the street, I will not recognize him. So imagine him going to school and being asked all these questions, because now children have access to social media. Imagine them seeing their classmates on social media being an adopted child, and he goes to school and they ask him all these questions. Just imagine something like that. Exactly. So then again, this damage can extend beyond childhood, affecting their relationships, their self-esteem, and a sense of autonomy well into adulthood. Part 4. ethical boundaries and social media fame. The rise of social media influencers has shifted the way that families interact with their platforms. In so many ways, the internet has turned family moments into potential streams for revenues. For some adoptive parents, their children's stories just become content that drives engagements, click, and ultimately income. But at what cost? At what cost? Parents like Micah Stoffer, who monetized her adoption journey, may not have set out to exploit their children, but the reality is that the child's life became part of a larger marketing strategy. This creates a situation where children are treated less as individuals with their own agency and more as assets that helps their parents gain followers or boost their online presence. The ethical line just becomes blurry when parents start making decisions based on what will generate the most content or engagement rather than what is best for their child.
Who benefited from this child's story being broadcast to millions of people?
Micah did something unfathomable. People get death threats for things more innocuous.
There's still a lot of questions.
Do you think they adopted him for the views?
In some cases, parents just adopt this savior narrative in which they frame themselves as rescuing a child in need. So while adoption is undoubtedly a beautiful and life-changing process, framing it as a heroic act for social media validation can be so damaging to the child. This kind of narrative often casts the adopted child as someone who should always feel grateful, which can just create unrealistic expectations and emotional burdens. So that brings us to part 5, the long-term consequences for adopted children. The long-term consequences or the long-term impact of being featured in social media can be deeply felt. The sense of having no control over one's identity online can lead to feelings of resentment and betrayal as these children grow older. Even if they don't initially mind being part of the online family story, children will eventually understand the difference between their real selves and the public persona that their parents have created for them. When it comes to identity, adopted children, they often navigate complex feelings of belonging, especially in cases of transracial or interracial adoption. Because I've noticed most of these people, they go to all this country because, the culture shock of adopting a black child or adopting an Asian child when you're white. The shock complex, like how people will be like, oh my God, they adopted a black child. Honestly, again, I'm not really against that. If you're loving, a child deserves a home, honestly. But I feel like some of these people, when they do it and then they exploit the child for it, I'm like, yeah, you didn't do that with the right intention. Why can't you adopt from America? Why can't you adopt from your country? Why are you traveling all the way? Like, even me, I want to adopt, and obviously, it just depends on where it's available, but I don't even for the life of me exploit my child online. Cool if you see them on the couch, cool if you are playing a little game. There's a difference between sharing and oversharing. People can be like, oh yeah, this is a child, but it does not mean that they have to be at the forefront. They have to be at the center of your content. They have to be at the center of your account. That's not how it should be. But these parents, they don't listen. They don't think like that. All they see is money. If you want money, get a job. I know jobs are not easy to come by, but these people don't see beyond that. They don't see beyond the paycheck. They don't see beyond the revenue that comes with it, the ads, the marketing. They don't see beyond that. All they see is dollar sign, dollar, whose privacy is being exposed to the public. The child. Let's talk about Eleanor, the queen of exploitation, her mom, Jacqueline. Her mom exploits her so bad. We know so many things about Eleanor, but what do we know about Jacqueline? Nothing. Even her Instagram page is private. These people come out, exploit these children and just do whatever they want with these children. Put these children in the face of pedophiles and predators. That the fact that Eleanor's pictures are in predators' rooms, her pictures are allegedly in the dark web. Like, literally, people don't see beyond that. They just feel like, oh, exploiting my child is literally the best. What the hell? Like, you have to respect the privacy of your children. Think of them when they grow up. Social media will not last forever. I remember when I said that in one of my videos, I think it's Jenkins videos, and someone came for me. Social media will not last forever. The person was like, oh, you're mentioning social media. You think without social media, would you be able to sell your journal, market your journal? Social media is a good source, it's a way you can earn money, but use it responsibly. Use it responsibly. Bro, you guys just made me go off script. But like, yeah, financial aspects of social media can have long-term consequences. If a child's story has been monetized, they may never see a penny of the profits that have been generated from their likeness or their personal stories. Without clear financial protections in place, children have no legal right to benefit from the revenue that has been generated by their lives being shared online. I see that couple, Nikita Philippi, they don't want him to adopt a child because he can't post the child online for a year. You want to exploit the child so much. Girl, get a life. What the hell? What the hell? You're on the verge of having a good thing, but that brings us to part 6, the need for change, protecting adopted children's rights. It's very clear that there needs to be a shift in how adoptive parents or adoptive families approach sharing their stories online. First and foremost, there should be a stronger focus on the child's right to privacy. This means avoiding the oversharing of personal details and respecting the child's autonomy in choosing what part of their story they want to share with the world. Now, honestly, as I'm talking, like, what is really pissing me off is the happily events after. Like, I'm just picturing the wife's face and the husband's face. They deserve to be knocked. Honestly, they deserve to be knocked on the head, because some people need to knock sense into them. But like, then, like, the husband sitting down there and being like, oh yeah, she was a fashion blogger, and I told her, I was like, oh, maybe we should post content.
We had a family member who posted on Twitter. Yeah. As our adoption announcement, that took off and went viral. We're like, this is kind of crazy stuff, you know. And she had an Instagram account at the time. She was a fashion blogger, and I would always sit there and watch TikTok. We had some videos saved up on our phone, and one day I said, hey, you should just try it. And we just thought it'd be cute to post our family. We did not know it was gonna take off like it did.
Obviously, they're looking for how to make money off social media, and they're like, you know what, if we post and be like, yeah, he's adopted. I'm just saying, maybe that was a conversation. I wasn't there, but how I see it is like him being like, oh, let's just post this boy on our social media and see. You remember the announcement brought so much buzz, so maybe if we do it again, it may bring more buzz. Let's just see, because for some weird reason, people just love pictures and videos of children online. And of course, they did it, and they've seen that they blew, and now they are coming to Carmel crying. And what they even went to Carmel to do, like, to me, it was just useless. I'm not gonna lie. They didn't need to go to a whole national television to blast their problem. There's counseling, there is this, there is that. What is this world turning into? Social media platform has also made us to step up to the plate. Currently, there are a few protections in place for children that are featured in family content, and unlike child actors, children in YouTube and Instagram videos don't have the guaranteed compensation or the privacy safeguards. Platforms could implement policies that limit the type of content parents can post about their children, and also provide more robust ways for children to have content removed once they have reached an age where they can make their own decisions. On a legal level, laws need to be updated to reflect the reality of social media. Children should have the right to benefit from any money that is made of their story, and there should be regulations to protect their privacy online. And yes, and now I'm bringing up they should be able to benefit, because some of these parents are so selfish that they use the money for themselves, and they're like, as far as I have a roof over my head, I feel like I'm giving you the money. Adoption agencies can also and should also play a role by educating parents about the potential risk and the ethical considerations of sharing their children's lives online. In conclusion, because at this point I'm getting heated, and like I'm too cute today to get heated. Like, you guys can attest to that. The exploitation of adopted children on social media is a very complex issue that just requires more than just individual awareness. It requires systematic change. High-profile cases like the examples that I have mentioned, they bring to light the ethical concerns surrounding adoption-related content online. While sharing adoption stories can be so powerful, it should never come at the expense of the child's privacy, the child's dignity, or even the child's well-being. moving forward, the focus needs to change from creating content for social media fame to protecting the rights of the children involved. And that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to the end. If you made it to the end, put a red emoji because your girl is cooking today. That being said, if you want to know every makeup that I have used, is in my description box, my TikTok storefront or Amazon storefront. Please, you can use that way. But most of them are my TikTok storefront, to be fair. If you want to support me, please support me that way. It also helps me to bring out regular content and also to shop this channel, and support me too. But thank you so much. I really love and appreciate each and every one of you. If you reached the end, please put a red emoji. And if you enjoyed this content, please let me know what you guys think about this video, because I'm just tired. I'm tired of these parents exploiting their children and exploiting adopted children. Like, let these children breathe. Let them breathe. That being said, thank you guys so much. And I'm sure there'll be someone in the comment section that will come after me. You're adding to my engagement anyways. Until next time, bye.